Here we go. Start a new one right here on our single rain run. But Jon Ronson, Secret Rulers of the World, talks about it, because everybody pretty much accepts that Ruby Ridge was where the FBI really screwed up. And of course, they pinned it on the ATF. There wasn't much wiggle room for them to try to concoct it in that one, but because of how Waco ended. Now, granted, what should have happened is that that pastor that they had, whatever their leader, David, whatever, he should have came out when he made that deal. He said, "You broadcast my message on national television, I'll come out." Then he decided not to. Certainly, he's the one who screwed up. But the ATF screwed up first by opening fire and shooting the shit out of them, killing a bunch of them. Then they killed some of them. That situation could not have gotten any worse. And it's just like this, the FBI guy talks about. He's a negotiator. The problem is that guns were even involved, whereas the local sheriff didn't even carry a firearm. You know, they opened up on him. They went ahead and had themselves a fucking skeet shoot. This was actually not a great choice for a wall. I like the position because I could just move up, but now I can't build a big field. David Koresh, that's it, yeah, and the Branch Davidians, which are apparently still around. But no, Waco is totally another failure of the federal government in this situation. Way overstepped the authority, completely ignored the rule of law, your Fourth Amendment rights, your Fifth Amendment rights. Fourth Amendment as in you gotta have a warrant. You can't. There was no evidence to suggest the Branch Davidians were doing anything illegal except for being really weird. He was a polygamist, which is illegal under federal law. It actually caused a bunch of issues for the Mormons. Mormons were persecuted pretty badly in the early days. This tends to happen though, and I mean, I think the greatest comparison is if you know, there's no more dominant religion in the States than Christianity. Well, back in the Roman days, Jesus was basically a cult leader. So yeah, they're weird and they're different, but that doesn't necessarily mean go shoot them up. Which is what we did. They still should have came out. They were way too stubborn. There was fault on both sides. I'm not saying this was like, oh, purely the FBI, but I was surprised by how objective that, Paramount's miniseries on Waco was. You know, it tried to give the FBI people credit. The ones who wanted to be cops. The ones who wanted to not just shoot the shit out of the place. Those were the good guys in the FBI who did try their best to resolve it. The bad guys in the FBI were the ones who were basically, you know, military. Not that they were these veterans or something. It's just that that's their attitude. This was a war zone. These aren't American citizens. They're enemy combatants. And that attitude only caused a further escalation. Because I guess the way that the guy wrote the book is what they based the miniseries on, which is the FBI negotiator. He said that basically the Branch Davidians, the harder you made things on them, the more that they felt that this was a test of their faith. And he kept trying to get that idea into the head of the, you know, the military, the more military-minded elements that were at Waco, just like they were at Ruby Ridge. I mean, Ruby Ridge was a cabin with a husband and a wife. The guy sold an illegal shotgun and 3 kids, and they had tanks and helicopters and an army ready to freaking kill them. But that one history pretty much understands that the FBI screwed up on. Waco is still a lot more gray. We'll never really know the full story. How's it been? Yo, Shadow! What up, Justin? It's been good. I've been wanting to play through this for a long time on stream. I love this game. It's my game of the year for 2018. I've been wanting to get a capstone out on it. And, I guess I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here, Justin. I kind of went through the whole stream redesign. It took us a week, but yeah. I think I can do this in probably, you know, a couple streams. That'll be a project done. That's good for a short week. I need to be doing things besides probably talking about Waco. But I mean, like I said, I watched a miniseries, so I feel like it's not like that crazy. It's not like I'm just randomly talking about Waco. It's on Netflix right now. And I'd already read a little bit about it because of Jon Ronson's book, Secret Rulers of the World, which again dispels the notion that there's, you know, 9/11 was an inside job or there's secret rulers of the world. There isn't. They there's another great scene in Waco where they talk about that, where they're like, the reason that we're outnumbered 5,000 to 1 as far as law enforcement is concerned, but the reason that we're effective is because they think that we're more powerful than we are, which is pretty much, you know, the idea behind Secret Rulers of the World. And there is that weird, like, event that they have out in the woods every year. All these really powerful people like, get together and join in some ancient festival. But there's, like, a good reason for it. It's set up by a big business board and yada, yada, yada. It's kind of like a retreat. But, of course, it looks super suspicious because there's, like, you know, the 12 most prominent business, world, technology leaders all in the same place, all around what is basically a pagan wooden idol that gets burned in effigy, and the whole thing. It's really, really, like, weird. But the deal is they were all, like, basically out there to golf and bullshit and not have to do any work. Thanks for being here, Justin, again. Let freedom ring with a shotgun blast. Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately. As I say, it's not a total hit job on the FBI, and that's, like, not why I'm talking about it either. Like, oh yeah, fucking FBI. There were cops, there were FBI agents trying to do the right thing, and ultimately you go into, like, I think that they must have improved, because if you look at the stuff that we did during 9/11, post 9/11, the FBI were not the ones torturing people. That was the CIA. The FBI was actually catching people and doing police work. More non-violent police work than they've done here on our own soil. But no, they were actually being really effective catching terrorists without blowing 1 million people up. It was the CIA that decided to do all that PSYOP shit. But the FBI did do all that PSYOP shit during Waco. And what's so fucked up about that is there was a bunch of kids in the facility. You know, they made it so they did the whole thing that we did in Guantanamo, playing loud music 24/7, shining lights in the windows at a constant, driving tanks around and helicopters around. So it's like it's a siege like this game, but you're doing it to fellow citizens who do have something called the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and yeah. But basically, another thing that they do in defense of the FBI is that lawyers do show up to help the Branch Davidians. And David Koresh says, okay, yeah, I'm going to come out, but you got to give me a week to write my manifesto. And the Branch Davidians say that he was writing the manifesto and it was basically done, but he wouldn't release it until it was completely finished. And the FBI, the week came up, the deadline came up, and that night they did their assault. There was just a lot of fault on both sides, I think. And I think that miniseries did a good job of trying to show that there weren't really any winners when it came to Waco. And I kept thinking to myself, only in America, you know? It's such a uniquely American phenomenon. A situation like that. Some fringe religious sect makes a commune out in the middle of the Texas desert where they have to be celibate, and this David Koresh has like 10 wives, one of which is 14 years old, and they own all these machine guns, so they do have permits for them. That was the first thing the ATF really got wrong, is that they had two people who were really smart. They had a guy who graduated from Harvard Law School, and they had a guy who was a professor of theology. And had a doctor in theology. They had some, like, smart people in there that had basically succumbed to the... Well, I don't know. It's difficult to call it a cult. I mean, it meets the definition of cult, but there almost isn't a cult. There's some, like, interesting arguments made that there is no such thing really as a cult. I would say the thing that a piece of candy in is a fucking cult, though. An alien saw the future. 2021, so he's kind of screwed now. Game of the Year 2018, really, dang. Yeah, for me, it was Game of the Year. I really like this game. It's simple, it's relaxing, and I find the gameplay really engaging. What's the latest on Borderlands, Justin? What I'm working on is being able to stream and record off the PC, on the same PC. That's why I'm not on Borderlands on PC yet. And I am seriously very thankful and grateful for what you did. Thank you, Justin, really. It does mean a lot. I'll probably continue Borderlands on Xbox, though. I definitely got to get back on there before the Cartel event ends. But soon, very soon. Very soon we'll make that conversion to PC. As soon as I can stream and record without copyright, so keep the song request going and do it clean. Yeah, I've already got a really nice long review, and I've been wanting to put it out, but I didn't want to put it out without a playthrough. Alright, so most of our Kingdom 2 Crowns Let's Play is now talking about Waco and Ruby Ridge. You know, another difficult thing that I thought about is, like, you know those people that are like, I'm a sovereign citizen. You can't arrest me. I don't need to pay my taxes. I'm a sovereign citizen. The Chinese have got a constitution with even more rights than ours, but they don't follow it. And that, you know, we're lucky, I guess, in the sense that we followed as much as we do. We are the country that admitted that we tortured people. As much as it's shameful, as much as it hurts, and it does hurt. It hurts. I watched a good movie off stream called The Report on it, man. It hurt. You know, when you really believe in this thing and you know that, and I guess there's some pride in the fact that we're the country that came out and said, yeah, we fucked up. And we're gonna make a public disclosure on the fact that we fucked up. You can be proud of that. At the same time, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. That had something to do with, oh, but the people that are like sovereign citizens, like, you gotta get a lawyer. You gotta get a lawyer. It's idealistic to assume that these are the rules everywhere. There's an element of local government common sense in everything. I am being so slow, I need to already be attacking. Let's upgrade this wall, let's upgrade the castle, let's go on the attack, let's get off this island. I got on the soapbox and started talking, and that was that. There's actually a bunch of really good Netflix things to get off of government and all that bullshit. Into the Night is a pretty good little European mini-series on Netflix about the sunrise killing people. And it's kind of like The Langoliers, Stephen King's The Langoliers. It's almost exactly The Langoliers, but better. The Langoliers was not very good. The CGI has not aged well on The Langoliers. Was worth grabbing? It was, 100%. I was going to buy it, so... No, it really means a lot. Thank you, Justin. And we are going to play it on PC, 100%. We're going to play it on PC. I just want to be able to make sure that we get, you know, content out of it. Content that YouTube algorithms won't do anything to. But that one, Vampire Wars. It has a super corny name, Vampire Wars. But, it's actually not corny. It's surprisingly good. It's about unearthing an ancient virus in Antarctica, and it happens to be vampirism, and... It sounds so stupid. It sounds like, oh yeah, it's been done a million times, this is hokey. But it is surprisingly good. Like, none of these shows have second seasons, though. I can't watch Altered Carbon, though. I read all the books, and I love those books. That guy is just a really talented writer. I don't like the show near as much. Not at all. They simplify a lot of it. They simplify way too much of it. They take this really complex, really, truly complex plot line about the Falconist, and you have to read all 4 novels to get to the ultimate conclusion of a... It's just so well done. Like I say, the guy's such a talented writer. But you gotta read all the books in order to really understand the full complexity of the Falconist. And they pretty much just turned it into the fucking Jedis, and it ruins it for me. The Falconist. Yeah, but so the Falconist is a group that tries to break off from basically the evil empire, the Protectorate. And it's really fascinating. It's a bunch of, like, stuff that you would typically... I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy. I don't know actually what this guy is yet, though. I would recognize him if it was in any of the other biomes. I don't know if this is the wall person or the ballista person. I think it's the ballista person. Those lines are really good in that song. Those lines are actually really good. Insane in the somber crowd when doom whispers here. I assume based off the poem, The Falconist. I don't feel better. Yeah, it takes, those are great books. Especially the first time reading Altered Carbon. Altered Carbon is one of those reads where you wish you had it back for the first time. There's a few books like that. For me, The Grapes of Wrath, Altered Carbon, A Clockwork Orange. I like to say Neuromancer, but not really. I actually like Chrome Zero a lot better. The thing about William Gibson's work is it's just... he's so lyrical. It's not easy to read, though. He's gotten a lot better, though. He's a Canadian writer. He's just extremely talented, but he's not an easy read, but he's gotten a lot better at being a lot more digestible and telling a plainer, still keeping that, like, really interesting concept. Like The Peripheral. The Peripheral's an amazing read. It keeps some of his lyricism that he's so known for. I'm just talking about random shit, by the way. But manages to tell a much more linear story that makes a lot more sense and is easy to follow. Neuromancer is like a groundbreaking book, but it's not an easy read, even though he thinks like 13-year-olds would read it. It's just, the language is so dense. Not sure about Deadlands? Thank you, Smallsy, I appreciate it. Oh shit, it's a fucking blood moon. Why do I have a blood moon? Is it an automatic blood moon on this night? I'm done, dude. I messed up. Well, I'm lucky in the sense that... oh, fucking... almost lost the Hermit. Very close to losing the Hermit there. If it was Plague Lions, the greed turn your guys into greed. And they'll steal your Hermit, and you can't get your Hermits back. I need to go on the attack, I need to leave. That's what I need to do. And then I'll keep finding random shit to talk about. Need to get the bat. I should have got Bat Boy. I'll do that when I come back, I guess. Sort of going off instinct, but I'm taking too long. I can't totally clear this out, but I can start attacking. So I wonder what that guy is then. I wonder if he's the archer or if he's the wall. Both of them are useful. No, wait. Wall isn't as useful. What is wall? What does the wall do again? Does it add spikes to the top or something? I forget. I know the one with the ballista is the most useful, at least to me. And at the end, the samurai guy is useful, so you can get 3 knights for the final charge. You know what? Pushing out here wouldn't be terrible. I'm doing it kind of late in the day, but... usually... oh, they're not going to push that far anyway. I'm going to make them push that far. We're going to attack. We're finally going on the attack. I'm a bit late to the punch, but we're going on the attack. What game is this? This game is called Kingdom 2 Crowns. The elevator pitch I can give for it is like I gave Jeremiah, is a history of the world in a button press. It's considered a micro-strategy game. It's 3 button presses. It's the bumpers. It's the joystick to move, the A button to do all your interactions. If you have an ability, it's the left bumper. Or right bumper, whatever. There's multiple buttons you can put on there if you want. I need one more wall over here so I actually get knights. I think that's all the more I really care about anyway. I want to be a little bit careful about building all these towers. I don't really have good recruitment. In the words of 43, recruitments. Yo, show the Reaper! Thank you for being here, Ashton. I really appreciate it. Ashton's a Marine. He's really a smart guy, really funny, really great at team-based strategy games. I sat there and watched your... the hell? Do I not have caster overlay on? Oh, I don't. Hold on. I sat there and watched your Streets of Rage... there we go. Playthrough. Like 4 in the morning. I sat there and watched it for quite a while. It's fun. You guys are really good at that game. He is 86, right. Right. He is 86. What side is this? I don't necessarily want to attack on this side yet. Well, I can anyway. I don't have any knights. I need a village. These guys aren't making any fucking money. Give me all your fucking money! That little girl that says that. Oh, all the villages are over here, though. They're not making any money, but here's where our recruitment is. Is this the portal? Is this the dock side? The dock side. It's dork-sided! Dropped me right into the 90s. Yeah, I was enjoying watching you guys play it. I've never heard of it before, though. I saw you said, like you were getting that nostalgia. You guys are really good at it, though, that's for sure. I'm moving a little slow right now. For sure. Need to either start pushing the attacks or get to the next island. There was something I left behind, the second island. I left Bat Boy behind, and Bat Boy really helps us move fast. That grass is looking a little fucking gray. There's no way. I'm only an hour into this playthrough. There's no way we're getting to winter. Winter usually happens around day 40, I believe. It better not be winter, because like I said, things are going to take a definite turn for the worse if we hit winter. Where is the fucking gem bank, too? She usually sits here on the... right here. Right by the dock, but I haven't seen her this time. Maybe I need to get the boat in. Never heard of Streets of Rage? It's on game... Oh, it's on Street... Yeah, I've never heard of it, actually. I see it was on Sega Genesis. I never owned any of the Sega systems. I'm just a little bit younger than you. So my system was... My first system was the Xbox. My brother only ever owned the Nintendo stuff. So, like, I played on an NES and an SNES and a 64. But, played a lot on a 64, actually. But never a PlayStation, and my experience with the Dreamcast was a buddy owned a Dreamcast. So I got to see all the really cool stuff, like the memory cards that were animated, and some of the amazing games that came out for the Dreamcast. But I never got the full Dreamcast experience, nor the full Sega experience, nor the full Sony experience. I've had the Microsoft experience for what it's worth, and the Nintendo experience. Okay. I'm just talking. I'm just, you know, commentary, Ashton. I'm just talking. I'm not trying to lecture you or fill you full of shit. I'm just trying to do content. Alright, recruitment's on this side. Let's upgrade the castle and get a... Oh, good old bot. Always fast. Always... The response time. This 1 millisecond gamer. It's a gamer bot. It's got red LEDs in it. And it's got a cool font to it. It's a gamer. Oh, you had like 20 Sega Genesis that used to break, and my mom would go get another one. That was really nice of her, damn. I didn't know the Sega Genesis had a build quality issue. That sucks. All I'm saying is if it was a Sony or a Sega exclusive, I mean, then I never experienced it. My personal lineage of gaming is Xbox, Xbox 360, and then the One, eventually. That's how it's been for me. I guess PC, but, I mean, we're talking fucking Windows 98 is what I played on PC, and then XP. And then I actually didn't have a PC for, like, gaming for a really long time. Until just recently, until I started streaming, actually. I really did not own a PC at all. I had a laptop for college that fucking, I turn it on and the thing goes, because I think the GPU in it's bad. I just recently got it running long enough to grab a bunch of my old writing off of it. We were project kids, 2 smaller sisters. It was probably us, but I always got a new one. Always got a new one. It was still, if it was brand new, you wouldn't think it would break. I mean, I'm not trying to give a story of poverty and why I didn't have systems. Systems are expensive. If that's what you thought I was implying was like a tear in your beer kind of thing. No. Hint, hint. Yes, hint, hint. Hint, hint. Hey, there, it's back. Why did that take so long to spawn? I grew up middle class. My parents then split, and then I grew up poor. Basically, because I pretty much lived with my dad, and we lived in this thing called a canal house, which is like a historical house in Appalachia that he happened to own. It was in the family for a really long fucking time. Ceiling leaked and shit, so, you know, I can identify with poverty, believe me. I know what it looks like. It looks like fucking spaghetti and Mountain Dew in my area. Like I said, we didn't have cable either. Which is not me like, hey, Deadpool, I grew up harder than you. Not even remotely. It's just, I empathize. We come from a common ilk. You had the Sega Genesis, I had the Xbox and Morrowind. We come from a common ilk. It's something my nephew, I love him. He's a great kid. He's a bright, funny kid. And it's the one thing, I'm not calling it worse, I'm just calling it different. He won't know. He's got the VR, he's got the Switch, he's got a PlayStation 3, he's got an Xbox One S. He's got a lot of different games, a lot of different systems. And that's not his fault, not even close. And he really doesn't show it, but he doesn't understand the experience that someone like you, Ashton, or me, or my brother had. But it's like, you had the one game, and you have to play the ever-living shit out of that one game. For me, it was Morrowind, it was Halo. Those were my games. Those were the games I played, you know, until the fucking disc burned out. And then eventually it was Fable. You might get the one game a year, but yeah. You know, these kids, and it's not like it's just him. These kids have Game Pass. I mean, imagine if we had Game Pass when we were growing up. That'd be so dope. And they've got all these great free-to-play games like Fortnite and Apex Legends. Of course, you know, you can just build a list from there. I'm taking so much time. But this being about, like, let's move fast so we can do a single crown run. I am not at all doing that. You know, it's just different. A lot of that, I guess, is, I don't know, JDP. I guess that's how you can tangibly see it, is my brother and I's middle class was, he had an, you know, the Nintendo system. Usually, like, around the year it came out. We're going on the attack, homies. Homesses. What's the gender-neutral adverb for homie? Oh, fuck. The Twitch mods are here. I know what shit is like. I've seen it. I've smelled it. I've talked to guys who did it. If you had a friend you could trust, you could trade for a bit, but you can't let your parents find out. You could trade for a bit. Nah, man. I can't wait for Tencent to make a console that takes plasma from you to play. Wilson, will you please add that to the quotes? Setup is done. Sweet. Looking forward to it, Jeremiah. You could trade for a bit. Oh, trade your games? I see what you mean, yeah. Well, the way the trading worked for me is you would give it to, you know, the guy that you sort of know, and I guess he's okay, and then you'd fucking hold on to it for 6 months. You have to show up with, you and your wrestling buddies and say, give me my fucking Fallout 3 back, or I'm gonna kick your ass, because I love this game, and you're not stealing it from me. But, you know, then you get that friend that's a bro. I never did end up with my original Fallout 3 again, because the last friend that borrowed it, you know, just kind of kept it, but I actually really liked him as a friend, so I never pushed anything about it. Who cares? But when it's that one guy you don't really know all that well, nor really especially care for, you gotta get the fucking game back on principle. Finally, we're on the attack. Should be prepared for a blood moon, I think. Though it's day 15, it's getting a little deeper into this. See, we're starting to get some, like, a little bit of lag in the input. Give them coins, that's their health bar. What's cool about Knights is they actually get a health bar. Things look clear, they're not. There's going to be a definite response incoming. No money? Okay. Send it in the Discord? Alright. These guys aren't making shit for money. These guys are still set up on Blood Moon. Oh shit, Wilson, you worked hard on that, Jeremiah. You got this baby clean. Jeremiah's got a battle station. Looks good, man. Looks good, dude. You did a good job, my friend. You did a good job. It gets 3 Owen Wilson wows. Well done. 3 out of infinite Owen Wilsons. Got all that room to put shit on. You've got a room too, don't you, Ashton? I still remember your Fortnite Save the World streaming days. You had like a full-on area. You had a full studio going. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit, they build up here. Uh-oh. This will probably not end well. We destroyed the portal so the workers were willing to push past. And the screen bouncing around probably means that a breeder is coming. We may have the DPS. That's a big may. Turn that, we'll go ahead and finish that word, maybe. So far, okay. I think I might go ahead and get a lighthouse on day 20. Freaking Roman numerals. This side's set up pretty good now. I did, but then I moved my sister and nephews in, then moved to a new house. I had another one. I moved my niece with me. I need to start helping my family. You're a good man, Ashton. You're a good man. Me and my wife fight over that. She would clean a space and immediately put shit in there. Did we get him in the quotes? Oh, what happened? So what happened with Battleborn Day? I feel like the powers that be shot to bed. Oh, my bad. I should have seen that. Nobody gives a fuck anymore. Which isn't to say we don't. I know you played on that day. It's that nobody talks to you, nobody talks to me, nobody talks to something. Somebody talked to Tacky because he organized a stream, but nobody reached out to me. Literally, there was no word on Battleborn Day until the day it happened. And that was at 7 a.m. by Mental Mars, and then a couple other people that don't ever posted about it, and that was that. My plan is December now. Wife's not here, he's probably gonna be pissed at me, but I've been talking to him in the Discord. The plan is, I think December we pull the Halo 2 treatment. We try to be like the last fucking people on the server. That's my plan now. That's gonna be our Battleborn Day. We're gonna organize it. We got time. We got time to organize it and make sure the plans are concrete this time. So that's what I'm looking at. I think that, yes, you're absolutely right, Ashton. The powers that be shit the bed. And, you know, I kind of don't blame them. I don't feel that offended about it. I just think there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in people's lives. We all know that this is the last year. You almost don't want it to happen because you know that every little bit of time means we're that much closer to the farewell. But they could have done a much better job just getting with people that are left. They could have sent you a message. They could have sent something a message. They could have sent me a message. I would have streamed it. I was having some shit happen. I don't want to talk about it because it's family stuff and it's on stream. Nothing too terrible, but stuff that kept this whole redesign taking a week. That was not an appropriate sound at all, but hey, I'm learning my soundboard slowly but surely. This one will work. But I would have tried, you know, I would have definitely tried to get an evening stream, and there we go. More inappropriate. Battleborn is a hazy memory now. Yo, Zed Fate, tell us what up, Zed. Zed's a YouTuber and a streamer. He's really good at Monster Hunter. Yes, please check him out. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. How the hell you been, Zed? Yeah, I mean, not Monster, Battleborn. For me, Battleborn's a positive memory. And I have one last big video I want to put out about it. And I do want to do one last farewell content thing on it. But it's also, I think most pressingly, most importantly, most poignantly, it is a symbol of, hey, fucking always online games suck, man. Always online games screw the consumer. Because instead of owning that game like you did on Streets of Rage for your Sega Genesis, what you're now dealing with is you rented that game, and when the servers are offline, you don't have access to it anymore, homie. That's over. I hope it was nice while it lasted. Which is a significant reduction in the value given to the paying customer between ownership and leasing, which is what live service does. So that to me is the biggest. That's the message that goes forward with Battleborn. Battleborn is a lot of lessons for the developers, for streamers like us that loved it. It hurts. Battleborn Day, you know, I'm not gonna say it hurt like family passing hurts. I mean, it wasn't like that, but it just personally for people like yourself, Ashley, that supported it, like Something that supported it, like Jeremiah that supported it, myself, Adam. It just feels like yet another slap. The community streams that never at all recognized us or even wanted to see us as present, even identify us. And that just continued. There's nobody fucking left, so what's it hurt to do a little reach out? Well, we can help. I know I would have helped. If I get a message, I will help. But without any, you know, they delayed it the last 2 times, and then this time it was just, hey, Battleborn Day's happening. And all the kind of usual stuff was sort of happening, but it just felt like a token gesture this year. There's no doubt about it. Felt like a token gesture. I was pissed about it. I was actually pissed. I love getting to play Battleborn. It's the one day, usually the one day a year that you can actually get some lobbies going, and you know, with as far as the matchmaking is concerned, without 10-mans. So yeah, if I get an opportunity to play that game that I love, like you guys love, then hell yeah. But it's impossible to do that when you announce it at fucking 7 a.m. And especially for people like us that have family and obligations and a schedule and a busy life, you gotta give us some pre-warning. We're just not in the loop, man. We're just not in the loop. That's why we're gonna do our own thing in December. In December, we're gonna do a Halo 2 Spartan Last Stand. That's what I think. Is that Ag, Real Scream from Real Monsters? Let me try to find that button again. Oh, the Howie Scream? The Howie Scream, it's been used in a lot of stuff. I remember it mostly from StarCraft. I keep touching my face, so I gotta stop that. We're in the middle of a pandemic, definitely. I wouldn't remember how to play Battleborn. It would come back quick to you. You had such a good Arendi, Steven. I'm sure you'd do fine. I can understand why they've done these live service shit where we don't technically own the game. Exactly for that reason. DRM, more ownership. You know, it really doesn't benefit them, but it only benefits them from the element of piracy, that you can't play the game unless they've got the servers up. But it really does not hurt them, the idea that a person who did bought the game still gets to play the game. So, I think they're actually really hurting themselves, because it's a scorched earth way to deal with piracy. It hurts the people that bought the game more than anybody. Battleborn is just simply this game that you paid $100 for, $80 or $60, whatever version you bought, that you won't have access to anymore. So, sucks, but them's the breaks, so get good, scrub. Or whatever. Where's this thing at? Where's Wilso's thing at? That ain't it. There it is. Oh, here we go. This is how I feel about. In fact, I'm gonna give you an audio clip just for you, Ashton. I've yet to put it in, but I'm gonna do it. Yes, the Howie scream. Good job, Will. So. Yeah, I got on my 10 mans. I got to play Reyna without anyone fighting me. Was there matchmaking? Xbox players don't count. So true. It's been alright. Hope you all have been safe in these weird times. Yeah, man. So you've been alright? How's the lady situation? Last we talked, you were trying to get a girl. Where the hell is the quote I wanted to put in for Ashton? 43 twice, he's 86. Was that the one? I don't know. Still single as a Pringle, so the girlfriend situation's not changed. How about the Boy Scouts? I saw the Boy Scouts are... What? They went bankrupt, right? So what's the latest on that? I'm gonna try to attack this last time and then move on. We're already getting some FPS, steady struggling. Am I subbed to you right now? I don't believe you are. Exultation. Yeah, Xbox players don't count, I know. The 10-cent one. That's probably it. Yeah, Battleborn Day, they shit the bed, that's for sure. They did. But, you know, it's just the game's gonna die this year. It's not, as Will so I guess would say, it's not the hill to die on. Where the fuck is it? I think it is the 10-cent one. Now I can't find it. Anyway. Not quite sure with that, but yeah, that was the thing. More recently, summer camp was canceled for the season. It didn't work last year and was planning to this year, so it doesn't affect me much. I should tell you if you're interested in truck, I asked my lady friend to be officially dating. She jumped for joy. Hell yeah, man. Good for you. Well done, Steven. Well done. Let's get you as much sounds as we can. Let's give you 3, 4. Let's give you... That gets 4 out of an infinite Owen Wilson wows. Well done, Steven. Well done, my man. And we'll give you an epic. Good, I'm happy for you, Steven. This was totally the wrong side to attack. This is the cliff side. That's useless. Oh, well. So, what's life look for you? It's been like so long since I talked to you. It's been well over a year, Zed. Nice. It's a nice change. Been single for 6 years. I'm really happy for you, Steven. Congratulations, my friends. Yeah, so far so good. But I don't know, my nephew had to stay over the weekend, and both his parents work in healthcare. My sister's a nurse who's been right in the front lines of this shit, so you just don't really know. Because the incubation day is anywhere between 5 and 14 days, so technically, one of them could be asymptomatic carriers, and the nephew could be an asymptomatic carrier, and then my grandma and I might be really sick. You know, I don't know. I kind of... Personally, my big thing that happened was I'm never going to go into Walmart again during this. I've been fine with Kroger. Kroger, like, no rules, but everybody pretty much stays the fuck away from one another. Walmart, lots of rules, lots of lines, lots of red here to go in, red here to exit, but nobody follows it. Nobody wears a mask, and this woman was in this group of, like, 12, 15 people at the self-checkout, just coughing without covering her mouth. Drove home, took the groceries inside, stayed away from my grandma. I came home, stripped my clothes off, got my boxers, told my grandma she had to wipe everything down with alcohol, and then she needed to go, like, take a scalding hot shower. Immediately went downstairs, threw my clothes in the laundry machine, took a scalding hot shower. We wiped everything down with alcohol after that. It was probably the closest call I've had. We also had a water heater break. My brother works in IT at a hospital. So we did, you know, it was a manual job. We're moving a water heater, we're hooking up new lines, running new everything. And he had to sit there in a fucking, like, mask the entire time, which was miserable for him. Sweating profusely. It's definitely been weird times. I mean, 4 in the morning Korean baseball's on ESPN. 2 weeks ago, ESPN was running like NBA 2K20, celebrities playing NBA 2K20. No network has been hit harder than ESPN, I think. It'll be slow and steady to get back to normal. I need to leave, man. It's definitely summer. Maybe even get into fall. I need to get on the attack, get a little lighthouse, and get the hell out of here. ESPN gets like a fat dick. You're not a fan of ESPN, Steven? Yeah, it's been a really long while, really, for my streaming's concerns. Been mainly just working on school. Associates end of the summer, 7 credits left. Nice. You've been working on that for a little bit now. I'm glad you're gonna get it. That'll be exciting for you to get it. I started DMing D&D Sundays now too with some friends. I bet that's fun. That's cool. So it sounds like overall it's been good. It's been productive and happy. I'm glad to hear that, Zed. How's your brother? I don't see your brother stream anymore. Speaking of Battleborn, there was another... At one point, your brother was one of the big dogs. Big dogs in the Battleborn community. I'd rather watch paint dry. So my TV time is usually... If I'm on schedule with the stream, then I'll take my break around 7. I'll watch the CBS Evening News. If I'm lucky, I'll catch Jeopardy. And then the other program I watch is like 4 in the morning when we quit streaming. ESPN. So I don't mind ESPN because it's one of the 2 fucking television programs I get to catch most of the time. If I'm not streaming, I'll just put on something on Netflix. It's weird. Our generation, man, cable television is just dying for our generation. My grandma loves it. My mom loves it. Even though they're streaming more and more, too. My grandma has her Hallmark app, and now she knows how to work Netflix. And she's 85. Fucking loves it. She knows how to buy her own movies. She fucking loves it. My mom works a TV remote like she's trying to fly the Apollo rocket. But, yeah, Netflix is her shit. So, I don't know what cable TV is gonna do. I know I need to leave, though. I'm wasting too much time building up. I need to go attack on this side and leave. I watch Netflix and Hulu. Right. I mean, you're not alone. A lot of people are doing that, cutting the cord. And what's good about it, though, is that I feel like that's why cable companies like Spectrum that are also ISPs are doing a slight... I guess Comcast is still really terrible, and that's probably because they're, you know, fucking nearly a monopoly, but they seem to run better deals and tend to be easier to work with. At least they have been for me. I've had only a few problems with Spectrum since they did the whole switch. And I gotta assume a lot of that is the... Yeah, they do have competitors. We're lucky enough to have another internet company in my town, so there's a competitor there. And then, of course, there's so many people that cut the cord anymore. There's some solid cable channels, though. I mean, cable has a nostalgia element to it. Like, catching a daytime movie. Like, I watched Major League. I could easily stream it on Netflix. But I went ahead and watched it on Fox Sports 1 because there's just something to the ad breaks, I guess. You feel like you're a kid on a sick day watching daytime movies again, I guess. Even though commercials can be just so annoying. I hate commercials when you're watching a television program that you're really not all that into. The biggest thing cable has is sports. I mean, it's hurt everybody because you got the college football, pro football, Major League Baseball. Every network broadcasts this shit, and it's really, unless you're a super sports fan, the action is in the moment. It's in the moment. And, God, that's how they get rich. I mean, people still watch the NFL, people still watch college football, people still watch playoffs, baseball, and basketball. So they run more ads there than any, that's when they make all their money, is campaign season and live sports. In college football, if I watch like a replay on like Fox Sports 1, they can play that entire football game in 30 minutes. What they do is they cut the huddles, they cut the timeouts, they cut the media timeouts, they cut out the instant replays, they cut out all that, and they only just show the play. So it's like 1st and 10, throw, pass, and it'll be 2nd down immediately. You can get that football game down into 30 minutes. But when you watch the, say, Ohio State play, live, that's a 3.5-hour program. That's how fucking bloated that they've become. It's not only ads in between the plays now, it's ads during the... Here's the Duracell instant replay. Here's a short message from Verizon. In the middle of the game now. They have found every way possible to optimize how many ads they can put in there, and it makes me fucking so angry. Comcast is a DSP. Yeah, I mean, and that goes across political party right there. That was... They've all done that. It doesn't matter who's in there. Left, right, in between. Between the FDA and the FCC, you're, I can't say your government's is not really being the watchdog that you think that it's being. Pretty much, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. There's been a number of those mergers recently, and then the people who are on the board of the FCC end up being on the executive board for the company of the merger that they were voting on. Most notably, the Comcast merger. Spectrum keeps offering me a deal for 35 bucks. I keep telling them I don't watch normal television. Right, that's the good thing about competition. Where you get fucked is when there is no competition. So I know, like, Comcast has a monopoly in a bunch of areas, and I think that's why it's probably so bad. I hear a lot of complaints about Comcast. That, you know, they just don't treat you well, and the prices are high, and the service is shoddy. Each commercial break is like 5 minutes or something. Dude, yeah, at least 5 minutes. At least 5 minutes. It's... In gamer terminology, it's OP. It's so annoying. I want to watch the game. There used to be this network called ESPN Classic, and I actually loved it. And it had this thing called Cheap Seats, where these two guys would do, like, color commentary for really... ESPN during its old days, when it was trying to find its legs, and it would run, like, tons of really bad programming. And just, like, there was a totally different quality to the games back then, because they ran so much fewer ads. It was just, I mean, granted, television and sports is pretty new. But in those early days, its rawness had a charm to it. And now it's such an entity of money that the charm is gone. Except for the magic of sports itself. I'll tell you though, I complain about it, but if you just so happen to be unlucky like I was to catch the Korean Baseball League at 4 in the morning because, you know, in fucking the United States, people are still dying left and right, but South Korea is basically getting back to normal. The teams in Korea are like the Samsung Tigers, the NCSoft Dinos, the corporations own the team. So it's like what we would view as the ultimate dystopian reality for baseball. You know, fucking America's pastime, as old as us. We've played it for hundreds of years. We love baseball. And we think that there's a magic and a charm to baseball. Something, like, really genuine and earnest about it. Even with all the billboards and the ads and the money behind it. There's always been this feeling that it had to stay somehow pure. I think, you know, it's like why in the 90s the strike was so damning for baseball. Well, fucking the Koreans have already went ahead and that's, oh, what's the word? Damn it, there's a figure of speech. They've already gone there. I can't find the figure of speech, so it doesn't matter, but what we would see is like the ultimate greed, corporate overlord, whatever. And Korea is a socialist country, so it's like really weird to see that. I don't even know what Comcast is. Comcast is one of the top 3, top 5. It might be down to just 3 companies. So basically, Steven, there's 3 or 5 corporations. I believe it might only be 3 now. That actually own all media. You know, corporations that owns many smaller companies underneath it. Comcast is a cable provider and ISP provider, and they also own NBC, and they also own Universal. And then there's like, oh, the people who own, he owns TBS, he owns Fox, Murdoch, I believe his name is. Murdoch, he's one of them. And Disney is the other one. It's like, so there's actually only 3 companies in the space. And the big, of course, we're lucky that we have 3. And nobody's actually managed to take one another over yet. And we do have antitrust laws in this country. You know, that hopefully would be able to prevent a true monopoly in the space. But anyway, it used to be a rule. Used to be 2 rules. It was called the Fairness Doctrine, which was an act passed in 1940 that made it so that you could, say you ran a cigarette ad, which of course you can't even do anymore, but say you did run a cigarette ad, you had to, in that same advertising space, run an ad right after, or in that break, that was an anti-smoking ad. So if you ran an ad for a Democrat, you had to also run an ad for a Republican. It was called the Fairness Doctrine. And they got rid of it in the 80s. There was another law as well that you could only ever own 4 media companies. That was the limit. So you could own like a radio station, a TV station, whatever. But that was it. They also got rid of that. And that's why like radio, there used to be a lot of local radio, a lot of UHF stations, TV stations, a lot of local radio. It's all gone now. Basically, one company owns all radio. It's called Clearwater. Clearwater, it basically runs a monopoly on radio. Because there's no longer any rule stopping you from owning as many fucking media corporations as you want. And look, there's pros and there's minuses to the whole thing, all right? I'm not saying that this is like an objective, like we should have the Fairness Doctrine back. Though I don't think that'd be a terrible thing. I think that the ship's already sailed on you can own 4 media corporations. That shit ain't going anywhere. But there's good and there's bad and everything. Alright, let's get out. Let's fucking attack. Let's leave this area. God, seeing you on the screen so close up, you look so crisp. Wait, really? Oh yeah, man. I'm known for looking crisp. Thank you, Jeremiah. The Fairness Doctrine also affected the media bias, which is why media is so polarized now since it's been abolished. America's media has always been polarized from the very beginning, though. You go back, you read the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. The newspapers back then were partisan. I mean, even Obama talked about, like, you know, oh, this last campaign season was so vicious. They've always been vicious. Andrew Jackson, or not Andrew Jackson, well, that one was really vicious too, but when John Adams and Thomas Jefferson ran against one another, Thomas Jefferson put ads that said that John Adams was a hermaphrodite. That he, you know, was basically, that's why his voice was so high-pitched, and the campaign between Henry Clay and Jackson was so bad that Andrew Jackson's wife died. She fucking had a heart attack and died from the stress. It was considered a good election year the year Lincoln got elected because only like 86 people got shot, 60 people got ran over in a mob riot, and there was only like, you know, 4 or 5 incidents of like duels or whatever. I'm throwing numbers out, but that's still a real historical fact that it was considered a banner year because there was under so many deaths. And now you have an election, there's, you know, virtually no deaths. There are still some. There was that lady when Romney lost to Obama. She ran over her husband because he voted for Obama. And so you still have dumb people, but yeah, you know what I mean. I just don't know that nice and sharp. And they're like, oh my god, Fox is fucking ruining the world. And tune into MSNBC. I mean, yeah, Fox is definitely the conservative news outlet. There's zero doubt about it, but there's also a ton of liberal news outlets. I think the ship's already sailed, and I guess that's the word I was looking for earlier, is with the Korean baseball having corporations, like, own the teams. Like, the ship's already sailed. They went ahead and really loved baseball when I was growing up, and I read this book about the history of baseball when I was a kid. It predicted the future, and it said in the future what will happen is the players will be like boxers sponsored by corporations. So you'd have like Ichiro have a deal with the Hisense Stingrays, but he's also a player sponsored under Under Armour and like Nike, and he'd steal a base on third. And rather than, like, seeing the fans cheer and everything, he would see that his salary had ticked up, like, 5 notches because he also has shares in the company. It's like this totally dystopian vision. By the way, what I just talked about the Fairness Doctrine, it's just my opinion. I don't think Fairness Doctrine was a bad thing. It would be nice, I guess, to have it back, but it also does limit it makes things harder. It makes things harder in the sense of like, okay, I want to start a local station. I want to sell advertising space, but I only have 4 advertisers in my area. How in the world am I going to follow the law? I can't sell the ad space to counter any of their claims, so I can't take the ad space that I could sell. But definitely, the 24-hour news, it's infotainment. I think we'd be better off if we just... It is what it is. But maybe teach people that in history, in high school. Like, hey, by the way, MSNBC is extremely left-wing. Fox is extremely right-wing. Oh, fuck, we lost our knights. I didn't even see that he was losing. Oh, we still won, though. We still won, I think. Yeah, we still won. Good. All right, we got to get out of here. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to be that guy, actually, but I do try to strictly watch basically C-SPAN. Again, it's not me trying to be actually, I'm a fucking... I just want to get the facts straight. I want to hear it straight out of the horse's mouth. You put it on C-SPAN too. You can listen to the governor speak, you can listen to the Senate speak, the House. Watch it live. Make your own call. It's pretty fucking dry, but I'll tell you, it's also can be really entertaining if you get to see what, you know, there's all this, the Senate runs based on, oh, damn it, there's a word for it. Whatever they did in the past, there's a word for it, damn it. But they have this special thing who keeps track of all the different, like, rules that they've ever, they don't have, like, 10 rules and that's it. So they have a parliamentarian. And if in 1702 they were able, you know, that's before the country founded, but 1802, let's say. You know, they did this, they voted this one way, then therefore, the precedent, that's the word I was looking for, precedent. It runs off of precedent. There's no set rules in the Senate. You have a parliamentarian, the parliamentarian has this massive book, and it's a game. I read the biography of Lyndon Johnson last summer. Nobody was fucking better at it than him. Alright. Robert Cairo is a really good historian, wrote it. And it's a good book. It's a good book. Not a big fan of that guy. But anyway, he was a fucking master of the Senate. He understood it. He understood it like nobody understood it. He turned what was like basically a bunch of 80, 90-year-old men falling asleep in their chairs every day. And he came in there and he was young at that point. And he wasn't really fat yet. He didn't wear a corset and all that crazy shit. And he just understood it. When he was in college, he could call the votes. He'd watch the votes with his buddies when he was in college, and he could call it. So he had a particular mind for it. He used that damn thing. He understood the precedent. He understood the parliamentarian system. He understood that basically there's a lot of Bush League shit you can do in the Senate. Republic's made to leverage power. It's not necessarily meant to be fair. That's how he did it. He modernized it. But yeah, that's the kind of the cool thing, is once you learn about that, then you get to see the different games that get played. And yeah, I mean, it's about as exciting as watching paint dry if that's not your thing. But if it is your thing, then you're going to watch a bunch of 70-year-old men and 70-year-old women actually engage in a very high-contact sport. High-contact sport with an extremely, you know, high stakes. Really high stakes. Fuck it, we lost our knights.